next one for the untouchable True School Sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so this is a fighter that I've been waiting to talk about for a long time. You know, the fighting pride of Greece. This is a fighter that has fought himself into relevance. You know, he didn't start off with a big promoter. He didn't start off with a bunch of money bankroll behind him, but because he is worth his weight in salt as a fighter, he has fought himself into contention. He has fought himself into relevancy, and he has fought himself into being someone that, you know, recently was even named on the short list of potential Jaron Ennis opponents. So make of that what you will. But what we're going to talk about today: 16-0, 11 KO, number 8 WBA, and number 15 WBC ranked 154-pound contender, Andreas Katzourakis. Yes, let's talk about him because a lot of people have been begging me to talk about Andreas Katzourakis. So let's talk about him because he's a fighter that I think there's a lot to like with Andreas Katzourakis. You know, no nonsense, no bullshit, just goes about his business and he's been in some fights. He's fought, you know, a couple good fighters already and came out victorious. So let's talk about him. Andreas Katzourakis won the OTX tournament for 154 pounds. There were a lot of fighters in that tournament. Most notably, he won the final against Brandon Adams, which to me right there, just off beating Brandon Adams. That right there to me gives him credibility because Brandon Adams is a fighter that we all know, and we all know is a good fighter. This is the same Brandon Adams that took Charles the distance. It made Charles look ordinary, even though he lost and it wasn't a controversial fight. Charles looked very regular that fight. And Jamal Charlo is a world champion, still undefeated to this day. He also knocked out Sergey Boachuk, right? And we all know how good Boachuk is. Boachuk had a very questionable loss to Virgil Ortiz and put Ortiz on his ass twice. He did better against Boachuk than Virgil Ortiz did. Whether you thought Ortiz won or not, listen, Virgil Ortiz went the distance with Boachuk. Brendan Adams packed him up and shipped him out and knocked him out. So, you know, that fact that he has that win on his resume, that right there gives him instant credibility. And then he also beat Kudratilo Abdulkakarov, you know, a good veteran, a guy that was ranked number 1 in the IBF for years and, you know, was in position for a Spence fight. Never got the Spence fight, fought Lipinets, lost to him. So, good fighter, you know, fringe contender. Beat him. So he's got 2 good wins for a guy who hasn't always had the most investment behind him in his career. You know, this is a guy that has done a lot, you know, so good for him. Starting now, he's an interesting fighter because like a guy like Lipinets and even like a guy like Chris Algieri, he has a kickboxing background. He started kickboxing at the age of 4 years old. And Katzourakis kind of has like the Lipinets body type, the stocky build. Kind of fights, in my opinion, he fights a little bit like Stanionis. I feel like he fights a bit like former WBA champion Imanta Stanionis because they had the same build, same frame. They're both what I would classify as seek and destroy fighters. Only difference I would say between them is that I think that Katzourakis is a bit busier than Stanionis. A bit busier, output is higher. And overall, just a very, very consistent fighter. His consistency is what got him over the hump against guys like Abdulkakarov and Brandon Adams. You know, he's not gonna fight outside of himself, and he's gonna give you a very steady, consistent work rate throughout the duration of 10 to 12 rounds. That's who Andreas Katzourakis is. He's physically strong. He's gonna push you back. He's well schooled. That's who he is, and you know, that's who he is. Another thing I forgot to mention about Katzourakis is that he was one of Jamal Charlo's sparring partners. He when he first came to the States, one of the main guys he used to spar with and got his, you know, experience with is Jamal Charlo. You know, Jamal Charlo is a former world champion, right? And Jamal Charlo, the fact that he was in camp with Charlo, that's gonna sharpen him up and put him at a certain level already off rip. Because you gotta be at a certain level off rip to be in a camp with a world champion. I know that myself from being part of world title training camps. So we look at Katzourakis now. He's number 8 in the WBA, and there's a lot of interesting fights in and around him. If you look at number 7 and number 6. I like those fights with Katzourakis. You know, number 7 is Israel Madrimov, who a lot of people class real highly, the former champion himself. And you got Kyle Miyagi-Jarko, who's an Eddie Hearn fighter. And then just above him, you got Jesus Ramos. I would like any one of those 3 fights for Katzourakis. I feel like Madrimov, Argyalko, Ramos fights, they all make a lot of sense. In terms of entertainment and styles, I feel like Katzourakis versus Ramos would be fight of the year, quality type of fight. You know, you're talking about 2 action fighters, 2 fighters that stay on top of you, 2 fighters that throw a lot of punches, 2 fighters that can punch. You know, what's not to love about that fight, you know? Katzourakis, I think, you know, he is managed now by David McWater, the former manager of Teofimo Lopez, who's managed a lot of top fighters to the top of boxing, right? Felt like he's in good hands. I'm really intrigued to see how they move him, because the thing about 154 is it's a division with a lot of depth. Now, you can cherry pick, you can do it, but you can find a guy like Usima Lima, like Boots did. That is possible, but for the most part, it's a division that has a lot of heat, and so you can't just maneuver around guys. You're gonna have to eventually and inevitably fight another real one. And I think them 3 names are realistic fights. Even a guy like Magomed Kurbanov, who I don't really classify highly as a fighter. You know, he fought for the world title. He has people. Some people have a high opinion of him. So and he's ranked number 5. So I mean, I think that could even be a fight for him, for Katzourakis, who's trying to build himself towards a world title and build himself towards, you know, bigger and better fights. So yeah, Magomed Kurbanov, that's probably like the last option. But I would say, you know, I think Madrimov, Argyalko, Ramos, those are good fights. And the thing about Katzourakis is with the experience he's got now, with him beating Brandon Adams, with him fighting a guy like Abdul Kakarov, being in the camp with Charlo, I feel like Katzourakis now has the experience to go ahead and fight one of those guys and have a big chance to win. And yeah, that's what I'll say about Katzourakis. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Andrei Katzourakis? Who do you want to see him fight? Do you want to see him fight one of the names I mentioned, or is there a name I missed? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.